How you should be structuring abandoned cart flows to maximize profit. The primary objective of abandoned cart flows is number one, to drive high intent users back to your website to complete the purchase. These are the highest intent users that you have on site other than existing customers. And so we want to get these people back to the website to follow through with their order. But number two is that we also want to be maximizing cart value. And more specifically, we want to be maximizing contribution margin on the order. The most common mistake that I see is heavy discounting within abandoned cart flows. Abandoned checkout users, I'll reiterate, are the highest intent users on your website. Pricing usually isn't their objection as to why they bounced. And so we don't want to be addressing an objection that doesn't actually exist. Instead, we want to be collecting zero-party data so that we can identify exactly what objections are causing these users to bounce and not follow through with a purchase. Now, the way that we can do this is twofold. Number one, we can reach out to any abandoned checkouts, abandoned carts via plain text regular emails, asking for why they abandoned checkout and what we could be doing better to assist with their purchase. Number two is you can actually reach out via phone. If they left their phone number in checkout, you can call them. There is caution advised here though. Firstly, you want to be making sure that you're checking the no call register list. In Australia, in most countries, there's a no call register list. My number is actually on it too. So if anyone calls me that doesn't have permission to call me, I'm able to flag it with the government body straight away, and they'll, I believe, get fined or banned from cold calling. So it's really important that you're checking that list if you're going to start calling abandoned checkout numbers. And second is you don't want to allocate to someone that isn't good at objection handling. You realistically want a salesperson on the phone calling abandoned checkouts so that when objections are thrown at you, they can easily handle them and normally convert that user as well and get them over the line. You want to be collecting this data to inform the contents within your abandoned cart flow. You might be calling these customers, emailing all of these customers, and start to realize that everyone's bouncing because your shipping rates are too high, or because your shipping times are too slow, or because they simply got distracted, or because they were expecting some form of discount to appear at checkout, it didn't appear. There's hundreds of different reasons as to why people might not be following through with the purchase. Understanding why allows us to then curate objection handling based emails within our abandoned cart flows. Now, there's 5 key principles to the flow that I'm about to run you through. Number one is that we don't want to be discounting for existing customers. Existing customers typically do not need discounts to return. Number two is we want to adjust discounting according to cart size or SKU. Some products are going to have better gross margins than others, and so we want to be discounting according to the individual product SKU or to the overall cart size. Number three is that we want to be objection handling using that zero-party data that we've collected. Number four is we want to avoid SMS spam on existing customers. And number 5 is we want to avoid campaign overlap. So let's start with campaign overlap. Firstly, as you start a new flow where a checkout is initiated, you want to create a profile property that excludes the user from any campaigns that are being sent out. We don't want any confusion where campaign emails are going to the user alongside all of the flow emails that they're going to be getting fed. Then we want to split the order by placed at least once. So this is simply splitting the individual user based on whether they're an existing customer or not. We then want to split based on consent to SMS. If they've provided us with the number and they've consented to SMS, we want to put them through a different flow that also includes SMSs. After the first text is sent, we then want to go ahead and follow up with an immediate email, which is simply a reminder that they abandoned cart. In majority of instances, that's enough to get a user back to site and follow through with a conversion. But if that doesn't work, we then want to be following up with objection handling based emails. We want to be using that zero-party data and addressing it within our follow-up emails, as well as following through with a second SMS to new customers. We don't want to be doing that second SMS to existing customers, as we don't want to accidentally get them to unsubscribe. We then have a trigger split that's based on cart value or SKU. You can get really smart here and actually split dependent on contribution margin at a product level as well. So if you have that data available, you can get really, really clever with how you're splitting at this stage. That's going to enable you to have consistently high contribution margin orders coming through from these abandoned checkout flows. You also want to be making sure that the discounting that's going through existing customers is very different from the discounting going to new customers. You can likely be a little bit more aggressive on the front end for new customer acquisition. For existing customers, you want to avoid really discounting at all. And the reason for that is that you're going to erode brand equity and start to look like a heavy discounting brand. If users know that they can just abandon cart and get a discount code, they're always going to do it. And so you're going to find that all of your returning customers will just either search for a coupon code online and try to find one, or they'll just abandon cart knowing that you'll send one through to them. And then at the very end here, you want to be updating the profile property to then include these users back in your automated campaign sends.